Welcome back. RiverSpring Living is a nonprofit organization that provides compassionate care and community engagement to seniors in the community. Although guided by Jewish values, the organization supports seniors of all faiths. Their overall mission is to help older adults live full and meaningful lives. JoAnne DeVito, the Vice President of Human Resources, will join me to discuss their mission in more detail. JoAnne, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can you tell me a little bit more about RiverSpring Living and its mission?
Sure, of course. RiverSpring Living is a geriatric organization that provides care to our older adults in the community. We have a wide variety of services and care products that we assist with residents living in the community to keep them in the community, as well as programs that are directed towards our needs as we all grow older, which we all are getting there, towards looking at care in the future. So we have our nursing home component, which is the renowned Hebrew Home at Riverdale. We have our assisted living program, which we just opened up a beautiful state-of-the-art building, which has private apartments which provide care as well as memory care. We have our licensed home care services agency, so that provides home health aides to go to people's homes to keep them safe and in their home and provide the cares and support that they need. We also have our managed long-term care insurance program, which is our community Medicaid component. And we're very excited now that we're going to be breaking ground very shortly for the first life plan retirement community in New York City, which is also known as a CCRC, if you've heard of that, which is a continuing care retirement community.
Oh, wow.
So we have a variety and diversified areas of support and services that we provide to the older adults in New York.
Well, you're accomplishing so many things, and I just want to say congratulations on that. This is amazing work, and I love that there's an effort to, support, the older adults in our communities. I want to touch on the fact that there were, of course, as with many organizations, challenges during COVID-19, and there was an article by New York One that talked a little bit about the challenges that nursing homes face post-COVID. What specific challenges has your organization encountered during that time?
Sure. Well, during COVID itself, it affected everybody in the world. Our community and our healthcare systems had to literally redesign themselves and recreate themselves daily to meet the needs of what we had to do to get through it. Our organization was no different. We have areas where, we had visitors and families that were not able to come in to see our residents. So we had to be very creative in ways to keep our residents engaged, keep our residents connected to their families as well. So we did many different things, and some of the things that just come to mind are we created activities such as Good Morning Hebrew Home, which is our again our renowned nursing home, a part of RiverSpring Living. But Good Morning Hebrew Home was kind of a template from Good Morning America. So we did a news program in the morning, trivia, weather. We had guest stars of our own employees talking about various topics. And that was piped in through our internal TV network. We also had, we were the first to create a drive-by visit during the COVID pandemic, where residents would be able to come to a glass atrium area. Family members would be able to drive by in their car, and we gave each component walkie-talkies. So they were able to visit with each other. Many folks got to see their first great and great-grandchildren and grandchildren for the first time that way. So we really had to redesign as we went along. And the most challenging thing, of course, as we went through the COVID pandemic was the challenge of staffing. Staffing was, always a concern to us because folks were not only balancing their own needs at home with their children being, Zoom educated and such, but staff being with us. And our staff were absolutely amazing. You talk about heroes. I can't talk enough about the commitment of our staff. They showed up every day. And not only the clinical staff, but all staff in different departments, human resources, finance, everybody was lending a helping hand to make that happen. So literally you learned from everything, but we had to think on our feet, and we were very proud of that because the team worked cohesively to get great ideas to keep that level of quality of care and engagement while we all had to go through this pandemic.
And I love to hear, some of the engagement efforts, like, like the Good Morning America style, that's like so fun. And I love to see that because that's something that I think every community, regardless of age or background, needs that engagement because so many of us were dealing with loneliness or dealing with, not feeling connected. So I think that's so important.
I mean, some of our nursing staff literally took the time with their own iPhones to sit with families and residents and have FaceTime visits because they weren't able to physically come in.
Wow.
So it was a lot of giving of yourself at the time, which made it wonderful for everybody.
Now, in addition to that, what were some methods RiverSpring Living implemented to ensure the safety and the health of residents and staff members during this time?
Absolutely. I mean, just in general, we were very blessed. We had PPE, we had masks, we had everything that we needed. But we had to look at a lot of the basic things that we did every day as to how could we redesign it to keep everything going. So we had to change our dining experience slightly. We had to put tables further apart. We had to have residents sit close but not too close to one another. We had to do activities in different fashions, either in smaller groups so we could space people out. So we all had to make concessions for it, but we kept up the lifestyle that we wanted the residents and our community residents as well to have.
Now, I thought this was very interesting, and I'm so glad to, I was happy to bring it up. I understand that RiverSpring is guided by Jewish values. In what ways has the organization's Jewish values influenced your approach to care?
We are guided by Jewish values, and primarily what we do for all of our older adults is God's work. So that is our focus as to how are we going to be caring for that person and keeping them in a safe space with respect and dignity as they go into their sometimes final journey of their lifetime. But we are a non-sectarian facility. We have various religious beliefs in our organization. We're highly diversified. So we have all different kinds of religious events and ceremonies and keeping everybody connected and included. The inclusiveness of being a community that is under religious values is very important to us.
Now, we talked a little bit about technology in ways, with the phones and how we're able to communicate. In what ways is RiverSpring Living leveraging technology to enhance care delivery? And we already talked about communication, but can you talk a little bit about care delivery?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've always been on the cutting edge at RiverSpring Living, and we're very proud of that. We recently received a very generous grant from the Hauser Foundation, a technology grant, which has helped us implement new technology in our delivery of care services. So one aspect is in our short-term rehab division, which is an amazing location for people to come to take rehab needs, PT, OT, et cetera, to get themselves home. We have a piece of equipment called a zero gravity harness, which a person who cannot be weight-bearing can be placed in the harness and be able to walk without the fear of falling, and it actually improves their recovery time because they can get their gait proper as they're walking. We have just implemented a new call bell system where the clinical staff have iPhones. So instead of having to go to a room to push off the call bell and find out what the residents' needs are, all of the residents can speak to the resident all of our nursing staff, can speak to the resident immediately to find out what their need is and let them know they'll be able to respond. And if for some reason they're caring for somebody else and they can't get away quick enough, they're able to contact a coworker and say, can you please assist at another location? The other thing that we've just recently implemented, which we're really excited about, is it's called Tasteful Textures. And this is part of our dining program, where those residents who have swallowing issues, where they may need a pureed consistency of food, Tasteful Textures actually is piping the food and creating a plate that looks like spaghetti and meatballs, looks like, meatloaf and green beans. And we all eat with our eyes. So for those folks, to help them engage in eating more, to keep their weight up and enjoying their food, by seeing this beautiful plate, it enhances the dining experience. So we're trying all the time to use different types of technology and techniques to ensure that the care that we're giving is, above and beyond.
And that's really cool. I've never heard about that anywhere else. So it's really cool to hear that right now.
It's
That's
beautiful.
amazing. It's very futuristic. So it's exciting to hear. Now, how does RiverSpring Living plan to adapt and evolve to meet the changing needs and expectations of older adults, ensuring a high standard of care and support for residents?
Sure. Well, right at this time, one of our biggest focuses, of course, is making sure that our staff are well trained and that we have the level of staff that we need regarding the future of care. Okay, we are getting into technology, so folks are being educated on technology, but we want to ensure that our staff are also trained. So what we're doing is we have different in-house programs regarding the technology that's coming out and training the staff. We are also, looking at the healthcare shortage in general. We want to ensure that we have staff that are within the realms of the needs that we have regarding like nursing staff and CNA staff. We actually just opened up our own CNA training school, the Heber Home at Riverdale CNA Training School. And that is bringing in new staff to us, whereby these are folks that they're in the community, maybe never even thought about healthcare opportunities. So they're able to bring in classes. We just had our first class of 9 students, and all 9 students passed and became certified nurses aides. So we now have new staff on our teams. So those kinds of things are important. We are also always looking at what are the needs of the geriatric population. And this is why we've just opened up our assisted living program. This is the next step. Folks that are looking towards retirement are now looking at our life plan community. So these are the things that we've been designing and enhancing so that we can meet the needs of the older adults.
Well, JoAnne, I want to thank you so much for joining us and talking a little bit more about this organization and the wonderful work they do to support the older adults in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
To learn more about the services that RiverSpring Living offers, please go to their website at www.riverspring.org. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Open after this.